Hey there guys, welcome back to Anthony Reviews, where Anthony reviews. And today we're going to be discussing the 2018 Marvel Legends X-Men wave with the Apocalypse Build-A-Figure. Now as far as these figures go, I was pretty excited for this one. Ever since 2016 when they started releasing regular X-Men waves, I was like, you know what, I'm probably going to end up buying them all. And so far I have. Now, I go into it a bit, this isn't the only mutant-themed wave that Marvel is releasing right now, or I should say Hasbro. But as far as the main X-Men waves, this is the third one overall. It's got a lot of good figures in it, a great build-a-figure, but let's just go ahead and get into the review and discuss it, shall we? Although this is technically the only X-Men wave of the year, it's the second of 3 mutant-themed waves. While the other 2 are under the Deadpool brand, they all contain a variety of X-Men and mutant Marvel characters. Other than that, though, this is the only wave this year to feature the X-Men specific branding. This seems to be consistent for Hasbro since 2016. The wave itself consists of 7 figures, with all of them featuring Build-A-Figure pieces, even if it is just the hoses for Apocalypse's arms. Of those 7 figures, you get 4 hero characters, though that term is somewhat loose with a few of these, those being Wolverine, Psylocke, Storm, and Multiple Man. You get what Wikipedia describes as an anti-villain with Gladiator. To be honest, I'm not too familiar with Gladiator. I know he appeared in the 90s cartoon, as well as his power being something linked to his confidence. He's only as strong as he believes in himself. I'm not too sure, but either way, the other 2 characters we have are villains, Magneto and Sabretooth. As mentioned earlier, you'll need to buy all 7 figures in order to build their ancient enemy known as Apocalypse. The paint and sculpt on these figures is very good. You get a lot of variety here with different body types, as well as a huge slew of accessories, which we'll cover later. Most of these figures will fit in nicely with most X-Men displays. Luckily, that's due to the choice of some very iconic and classic designs. Wolverine, Sabretooth, Psylocke, and Gladiator all look like they jumped right out of a 90s comic or even the universally loved X-Men the Animated Series. The colors pop, and the sculpting is on par with this year's other Marvel Legends, some even going a bit far beyond if you ask me. You also receive a unique old-school 80s Storm, which helps her stand out amongst other Storm figures, none of which I own at the moment. With Multiple Man, they went with the X-Factor design, which hopefully points to more X-Factor characters showing up in the future of this line. And with previous Trenchcoat characters, some have had problems to say the least. This figure, practically perfect in every way. The only character to feature a more contemporary design is Magneto. This is the design currently featured in Marvel Comics as of this figure's release. I can only assume they went with this version since the classic Magneto figure is still fairly new. Meanwhile, the Marvel Now Magneto design isn't old enough to be nostalgic, nor new enough to be relevant. Either way, this Magneto looks great. Articulation continues as expected for these figures. As I stated in my previous Spider-Man wave review, I'm sure collectors will continue to ask for the changes of elbow and ab crunches to these certain female figures. But as far as everything else goes, I think these figures work out great. None feature any really huge glaring problems with the movement needed to get decent poses. All the figures present reuse body molds, and there isn't a whole lot of new sculpting. Most of that new sculpting, however, comes in the alternate heads as well as little bits of detail in certain characters' costumes. Overall, I don't have any glaring issues with this wave. It's super solid and I'm happy with what we get here. The accessories are what really make this wave stand out in my opinion. Nearly each figure comes with some form of weapon or interchangeable piece that is so unique and necessary to them. I don't see how they could have done this wave without them. All the alternate heads you get add so much flavor to the figures. Even though some effects are reused in the wave itself, you can see why. They do a great job at hiding those cost-cutting practices that Hasbro is known for. Once again, these figures are some of the cheapest when it comes to the overall action figures aimed at adult collectors market. If you're expecting anything other than what Hasbro has been delivering, which continues to improve each year I might add, then maybe this line just isn't for you. For me though, it works out great. Now, on to the monster you get when you put all 7 pieces together. En Sabanor himself, Apocalypse. Featuring a design that isn't 100% accurate to the old or new looks, but rather a design to fit in with any display. This figure has a great face sculpt and really is a perfect representation of this character at this scale. Even the 2 previous versions, which were released by Toy Biz, pale in comparison if you ask me. While yes, one is much, much larger, this Apocalypse just has a better feel, a better fit for my collection. This figure captures the look and feel, as I stated, that Apocalypse deserves. I can't say for sure if this is this year's best Marvel Legends wave, but it's definitely a contender. If you're a fan of the X-Men, or any of these figures, then they will be a fine addition to your collection. And hell, why not just buy them all and get yourself the nice Apocalypse figure? I highly recommend them. And there you guys go. Those are my thoughts on this year's 2018 Apocalypse Build-A-Figure wave from Marvel Legends. So as you know, overall I quite enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think of the wave down below. If you haven't picked it up, did this review, make you want to go pick it up? If you're still kind of on the fence, let me know your thoughts. Of course, you can always check out some other videos. Subscribe if you like. Do whatever. It's what else. I've got the review, of course, for the Spider-Man SPDR review and a look at my Superman figure collection. So make sure to check that out. Take care, guys.